Hey babes, welcome to Stoned and Horny, the podcast all about exploring and expanding your knowledge in sex and cannabis with experts and friends. I'm your host, Hayley Herms, and today we're talking about cancer and cannabis, cancer and sex, and how to break out in marketing side of the cannabis industry with our special guest and cannabis expert and marketing expert, Stephanie Cakes. Let's get into it.
Hey, how's it going?
Ready? I'm doing great, but I hear there's some very exciting things happening to you, and I can't wait to dive into that. First, I want to kind of get into, so everybody knows, like, you are a cannabis expert, and you're so passionate about it, and I see the way you talk about it, like, hustler, just like straight hustler.
Thank you.
It's like very motivating, especially when I saw you at an event. You were just like, you're into whatever you do, like, dope, you're going at it. So I love that about you. I'm so excited to have you here today. Let's just kind of dive into, like, just in general, how did you start using cannabis, get into that, and then what made you be like, oh no, this is like an industry I need to have a career in?
Okay. So I got into cannabis at like a later time than like a lot of people would expect. I didn't get into it until like my early 20s, where like most of the people I hung out with in high school were already like smoking and drinking.
Yeah.
But I had a friend that decided that it would be a good idea to turn my closet into like a little mini grow.
Oh, cute.
And it wasn't anything big. Like,
Okay.
don't.
So you were down for the grow, even though you had never smoked before.
I liked him.
Okay. Okay. I get it. You know, you're like, oh yeah, I'm a down bitch.
Like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I get it. Loves it.
But I was going to culinary school, and
Oh, shit.
one of his friends was like, hey, can you make weed brownies? And I was like, yeah, this shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
So I started using like the clippings and stuff from whatever the hell was growing in my closet. And
Okay.
before I knew it, I had a full-fledged bakery of just really cool things that I
Shut
was
up.
moving and grooving with.
So did you try any of them?
Oh, yeah, you know.
So that's how you first did cannabis. You didn't smoke it, you ate it.
No, I ended up smoking it first.
Okay. Was that a good experience?
It was ridiculous. I just remember staring at the wall, like, for hours.
Overload.
Overload.
Yeah.
There's a towel that was, like, attached to the wall. It was Towley. Do you remember Towley from South Park? The, like, talking towel?
Shut the fuck up.
Hey, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. So the towel was
creepy.
actually on the wall, and I shit you not, like, that towel blinked at me. That was my first experience smoking. Obviously, it didn't actually blink at me, but
Who knows?
it was.
Sometimes when I'm on shrooms, I wonder, like, because they say the human eye can only see so much. Like, they say, like, we're limited to color, but there's, like, a million colors we
Yeah.
don't know about. Like, this room could, like, literally be, like, purple maybe, and we don't even know. You know, like, I don't know, that sounds, like, stupid. But
No, not at all.
you don't know. So sometimes when I'm, like, shrooming or, like, well, I guess this was just cannabis. But, like, when I'm, like, on shrooms, sometimes I'm like, what if this painting really is moving and I can only see it at this time, with this
yeah.
drug? And, like, who knows? So
Yeah.
I could definitely see your towel winking at you.
Yeah, totally. I know that it didn't, but I that's how high I felt at the time.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't really know if I liked it or not, but I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to start playing around. And, like, back then, nobody, like, knew how to figure out, like, dosing. I mean, I didn't know anything about weed back then. Like,
You were just going for it.
yeah, I had a little crock pot on the counter, and I would make, like, butter and oil and, like, let the
And that's how you make
trimmings
the
and
brownies?
everything sit for, like, 3-4 days. My kitchen smelled insane.
Did you Google it or did you just,
Oh, yeah, like,
try
I just
it?
kind of, like, okay, let's try
Okay.
this. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that I was learning in school, I would make, like, batches for school and then batches to sell to people.
Oh, beautiful.
Like,
so you
or
were
just
just
move
making that
them.
money, hustling. I love that.
This was way long ago. Statute of limitations has passed, so.
Perfect. She's safe. You can't touch her. Beautiful. We love that. So then after that, like, kind of took off, were you like, oh, I should do this, like, as a career? Or you were just, like, side hustle, like, you didn't really think, like, there was, like, a whole industry of cannabis to have a career in?
When I was going to school, I also was working 2 jobs on top of, like, this little side business that I didn't realize that I was starting.
Yeah.
But
She's a hustler.
I learned very quickly that, like, I'm not really the 9-to-5 girl. Mm-hmm. And, yeah.
I get that. No, like, one time at an interview, someone asked me, like, oh, so, like, before you did this and that and the third, like, what were your job? Like, did you work at Dairy Queen? Like, this, like, they wanted me to, like, say something. And I was like, no, like, my first job was, like, being a nanny. Like, even though I worked for someone else, I, like, technically worked for myself. Like, I knew I couldn't do it.
I worked at Orange Julius for 1 day. 1 day.
I don't know how people do it.
And it wasn't even a full shift.
Yeah.
It's I was literally in the middle of training, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
I can't do it.
Took the apron off and walked out.
So what happened? Like, how did that escalate from brownies to a special announcement we have?
I pretty much ran the bakery out of my house, and, like, it was pretty interesting because, you know, the boy that I liked, we parted ways, but I kept going. Yeah. And in order for me to do that, I had to, like, maintain friendships. And so I started meeting, like, different growers. And I grew up in the Valley, so.
In California?
In California.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. Native.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Born and raised. Great.
It's rare to find one of these.
Very rare.
Yes.
Very rare. Okay.
So you were out here. So you had more access to things than someone in, like, Ohio would.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, dope.
The San Fernando Valley, every other house was a grow house. Like.
Okay. So did you ever get caught or, like?
No.
Okay. Yes. Knocking on wood for sure.
Not that anything is still happening or anything.
Yes. So then the brownies, you did it out of your house. So
I did it out of my house.
I had the dorms.
No.
Okay. It was just a closet in your house.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And then. So I had a very interesting clientele because I went to Le Cordon Bleu and I majored in pastries. I would get hit up by, like, a lot of moms looking for, like, really elaborate birthday cakes and cupcakes and stuff for their kids. So I had a regular menu that was, like, catered to children with, like, different cartoon characters and everything. And then I had a special menu that catered to all of the other clients that I had. And it just functioned very well for a good amount of time.
Wow.
And at night, I actually was a go-go dancer in Hollywood.
Oh my God, yes.
Which is how I maintained my relationships with a lot of, like, the different, you know, trappers and stuff. They would come in and blow their money on bottles and women and
LA shit.
You know, but from my go-go box, I always was able to see, like, oh, this one, this one, like, and I knew, like, who to go talk to and whatnot to start making things move.
So at this time, when you say making things move, do you mean, like, were you going to be like, oh, like Cakes by Stephanie or, like?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my bakery was actually called Miss Cakes Bakery.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Yeah. And then when I decided that I didn't really want to bake anymore because I was like, I could make more money actually selling units of things and whatnot.
Yes.
Obviously I pivoted gears and I shut the bakery down and I just started going by cakes.
Okay.
And all the friends that I made in the clubs became clients or references or, you know.
So were you selling, like, ounces and pounds?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so you were just connecting with, like, other dispensaries or other trappers or just,
yeah,
like.
Yeah, so, like, I used to go to, like, the different shops and, like, pitch my friends different, like, weed, pound,
okay.
You know, like.
A seller.
Basically,
I know, yeah.
I started as, like, a broker, basically. Well, really a baker that turned into a broker. And then, you know, your network is your net worth. So it just kept going and going. And I worked in Hollywood for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Every night. So I met the whole gamut of, you know, different trappers from,
it makes sense.
Barely 21 to the older guys.
Yeah. And if you're listening and you don't really know, in, like, at least in my experience in the trap world, what happens before, you know, we have all these, like, regulations and legal clinics and stuff in the traps, you essentially would just have, like, rows and rows of weed in big jars. And how those jars would get filled is like people come in exactly what Stephanie was doing and be like, hey, do you want to buy weed from me? And that's how you'd fill those jars. It wasn't like, oh, this company has 20 units of 38ths and blah, 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 and all that. It was so like, oh, you want to buy my ounces? And then if you had good shit, you just kept buying from the same one. I remember one that I worked at, we had this guy named Bones. And Bones was like, at the time, so now he must be like in his 80s, but at the time he was like early 70s, and Bones would come in with like the dopest shit. And like we had been working with him for like over 10 years, so maybe since he was 60. I hope Bones is still selling good shit. Shout out Bones. I wonder where he is now. I hope he's still alive. But like, yeah, so I definitely get that, especially like if you're not familiar with that process. But that takes a lot of hustling. It's literally like door-to-door marketing and like knocking on people's.
I was literally going to pre-ICOs and stuff with shatter in pizza boxes.
That's hilarious and very smart.
And like coolers, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. So then from trapping to there, you're in marketing, and you sprung like even more like almost, I guess you would say, like the corporate side of the cannabis industry.
Yeah, I never thought I would have landed in the corporate side. From, that very like trappy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Everything was a lot of fun and going great. And then I got diagnosed with cancer the first time, which kind of like halted everything because I got locked in like an isolation room for a month, and like I turned into like Bubble Girl basically.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can I ask why they isolated you for a month?
My immune system was so shot that like had anybody brought any type of germ or anything into my room, I probably would be dead.
Oh my God. That's like COVID status.
It's like, it was actually probably worse than COVID. They like put a feeding tube in me, like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to like downplay COVID, but
no, not at all. Both are very serious and like that's life threatening.
Yeah,
that's why I said that. It's like
I had COVID and I spent like 3 days in my house and I didn't move, and then I was over it. Whereas like cancer was a whole other ballgame.
Yeah. And to be honest, like I'm so happy that you're here and we're going to talk about that, because cancer has personally like affected my life. My mom passed away from cancer a few years ago. I had a grandpa pass away from cancer, multiple aunts, both my grandma had cancer. Like cancer is very prominent in my family. However, my mom was like one of the only cannabis users in my family. So that was like a very interesting journey in itself, and watching like the benefits. Mm-hmm. We all like, let's be real. We love cannabis. That's why we're here today. But there's a lot of people that don't use it for medical reasons. And for some people, it's just recreational. And that is totally okay. Don't get me wrong. But I want to hear about the medical side, because, some people, they might get a disease and then they're scared to use cannabis, maybe thinking it'll harm them more than it could help them. And from my own personal side, that's why I can't wait to hear like your own side and informational, so that maybe if someone isn't going through cancer or knows, everyone I feel like knows someone that's going through cancer, can maybe
I don't know a single person that doesn't know someone that has had or is going through cancer.
It's insane. Yeah. And I think encouraging someone to use cannabis in their daily life or in some form, whether it's topicals, edibles, smoking, vaping, I think that it's really like important to have that information. So like, if we can dive into, let's dive into that in a second. Let's get to marketing let's finish up the history marketing part, and we'll dive into that in a second. But so cancer brought you to a halt.
Cancer paused me on everything. Obviously, I wasn't go-go dancing with a feeding tube in my stomach, and I literally dropped from like 125 pounds to 82 pounds in 2.5 weeks.
Oh my God. And you're like, not to be weird, but like you're a very tiny girl.
Thanks.
If you're listening right now and you want to go see what Stephanie looks like, go to our YouTube page. The full video will be up there, but tiny girl, beautiful.
Thanks.
So I can't imagine just going through all of that.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. I went from being like a very curvaceous, voluptuous, like I had cakes. That's really where the nickname came from.
Okay. Okay. We love a double entendre in this house. Okay, queen. I'm sure you're still caking, but maybe you caked a little harder. It's okay. It's okay. You can go back there one day.
Yeah, so when I got out of the hospital, first of all, when I got into the hospital, obviously I could not access anything weed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So imagine going from like constantly like smoking or eating edibles or, doing dabs and whatever to nothing
Yeah.
for 30 days. Plus you're dealing with like nausea and like all kinds of like weird
Like
shit that's
everything
happening.
you would need cannabis for. And I would think about that because my mom was in the hospital for like almost 3 months before she could come home. And obviously I'm able-bodied, so I would just get my ass up out of the room and go to my car and smoke and then come back.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I was my mom, I would probably be trying to like break out of my fucking room. Like, did you
They
do
put
that?
an alarm on my bed.
Shut the fuck
so
up.
that the nurses would be notified every time I got out of my bed because they were afraid that I was going to leave the room.
Okay. Also, I'd be afraid that if you stood up and like fell, you might break a bone because you're so braille.
Probably, but the real reason was because I was trying to escape.
Was anyone bringing you edibles or anything? Nothing. Oh my God. That's insane.
No.
So then after that, so like when you got out,
When I got out, the first thing that I did was get cannabis. Do you know what that is? It's like basically weed lean.
No.
Cannabis, they're legal now, but
Okay.
back then, they were on the traditional market, whatever the hell they call it now.
Yeah. Okay, so you were
And
like,
so I literally cut a bottle and opened my feeding tube and just poured it into my feeding tube.
shut the fuck up. Oh my God.
None of the meds worked. Like, I was so nauseous and everything. I literally was drugging myself with cannabis. And then, of course, I was prescribed regular lean.
Did your doctors care that you were like doing?
They didn't even know. Like, the medical system is a joke.
True. It's true.
I said it.
It is. I completely agree. It's hard because how do you trust those systems? Especially like the way they were built. And I hate to say this. This might be kind of controversial, but I'm gonna say it. But one of the hardest things for me after my mom passed away was like, not like I have to like face the government every day, but every single day I just thought about like how I personally believe the government has the cure to cancer, that there is multiple cures to cancer.
It's all in the food. It's all in your food.
Yes.
The second time when I got re-diagnosed, I told my doctors to go fuck themselves because they wanted me to start on like a low dose of chemo. And I literally switched my entire diet to Dr. Sebi's alkaline diet, and I cured myself within 3 months.
Shut the fuck up.
And cured like a boatload of other ailments that I deal with now because of chemo.
You had cancer twice. Mm-hmm. And so what kind of cancer was it?
Laryngeal. I had a tumor growing in my vocal box.
Oh,
So I got this phone sex operator voice.
Okay. I mean, sexy. So the first time that happened, you went through chemo, and before we were talking about, you also went radiation.
Yeah, it was
that's fucking intense.
Yeah.
And then you did chemo again. Did they want to do they wanted to do chemo, but you didn't do it, or okay, you didn't do chemo at all?
Mm-mm.
You just healed with the food?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And were you using cannabis during that too?
Of course.
Oh my God. Is this Dr. Sebi, right?
Yeah.
Does he say anything about cannabis use?
He, you're supposed to, drink the tea.
Okay.
But I was definitely doing a little more than just tea.
Yeah. So when you used it in your feeding tube, could you notice the difference? Like you could immediately feel it?
Immediately.
And it felt better?
Immediately. I have a nice scar on my stomach from the feeding tube. It just went straight into my stomach.
Okay.
It was fantastic.
So were you just fucking...
I was high as a kite.
Oh my God. Did you ever get paranoid?
No.
Okay.
I knocked the fuck out that
Beautiful.
day. It was the best
so you
sleep
went
I had
30
in
days
months.
without it, and then you were like, fuck this.
Well, it was a little bit longer than 30 days, but the 30 days that I was in isolation, there was nothing.
And so when you're going through chemo, since it was in your voice box, you couldn't smoke, right? Fuck. I think a lot of it for me is also like I like to smoke because I like the physical, like almost
Me too.
like addiction of like
Me too.
putting it together and just feeling fancy.
Like I'm holding a vape right now, and I very rarely smoke vapes, but this is a really good rosin one. Shout out to 710.
Oh yeah.
That I love, and even when I hit this, I feel like, even though it's so good, I still feel awkward because I'm like, where did I need to ash? Like,
Yes, there you want the ambiance.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a feel. It's definitely a vibe.
Definitely.
So between food and like cannabis, that's how you think you just like self-healed.
Yeah.
What did the doctors say to you?
They pretty much told me that I should create a will, and like
They thought it was over. What stage was it at when you?
when I got re-diagnosed, it was early. It was literally stage 1.
Okay.
Thank God. Like, because once you have cancer, you have to go in for like regular checkups and scans and this and that. So they caught it the second time at my 3-year anniversary mark, which, I mean, I had a pretty good feeling it was going to come back. They kind of warned me with the amount of radiation that I had that it could come back in another area.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Why? How does that make sense?
It doesn't. That's why,
I
like,
would think you're like, oh, the amount of radiation you had, it'll never come back.
no.
That's wild.
It came back not as laryngeal, but as thyroid.
Did they have to do surgery on your thyroid? Oh my God.
No. I literally, when I got the call that I had like positive cells showing, I just went home and threw everything in my kitchen away and immediately started the alkaline diet that day.
Really? And then did you already had like research on it or you?
I had been doing research on it even when I was going through like treatments the first time, but my body was so weak and I was like basically prisoner to the hospital, or if I was out of the hospital, like whatever, like my dad or whatever, the rules and regulations, because you really can't take care of yourself at that point.
Yeah.
So I couldn't like actively try to move forward with a different lifestyle because everyone was like, you're crazy, this is not going to work, like modern medicine's what we're taught. Like, I proved everybody wrong.
For like lack of my own knowledge. But like I'm kind of familiar with alkaline, but I thought it was just like a water, so it's a whole diet. And like, what does that really entail?
So the alkaline diet basically is, there's an alkalinity scale. Anything that tests below 7.0 on an alkaline scale is considered dead.
Okay.
90% of the American diet tests well below the 7.0 scale and is considered dead.
Just like, okay.
Anything that tests above 7.0 is alive, and you're supposed to eat things that are alive.
Interesting.
So the alkaline diet is basically no animal byproducts, so no meat, no dairy, no eggs, cheese, things like that. No GMO products, which most of the vegetables that are...
I was going to say, I'm assuming vegetables and fruits are like alkaline.
Some of them are.
But then I thought, America's, because we have organic sections and non-organic, and is the organic even really organic? Like, let's be real.
No.
So how did you buy, like, how'd you navigate that? Like, what were you eating?
It was literally hard. So I was getting all of my food from a local farmer's market.
Okay.
Basically, any seeds, any fruits or vegetables without seeds are GMO, so you can't eat those. Okay. So like seedless watermelon, seedless grapes, like bananas.
Okay.
They're all like GMO.
Got it.
They're all like there's a form of it that probably existed a long time ago, but it's been modified to the point where if you eat it now, it's not doing anything positive for you. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And then as far as water is concerned, so yeah, there's a bunch of like water companies that say that they're alkaline, but the reality is real alkaline water is natural spring water. Okay. And the second water goes into a plastic jar, it is no longer alkaline.
Really?
Yeah.
And what?
The chemicals in the plastic change the pH of the water.
Oh, shit. Well, I definitely believe that because I've heard like in other countries, the water's like a thicker consistency, and it's because it actually has like minerals and like things in it. And out here we can drink and drink water, but it won't even begin to like amount to like 1 cup of water out there. Which I heard is why they can just like drink wine at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon because they're hydrated from fucking 2 cups of water. Jesus. So that is a lot. And is there any like specific products in the cannabis industry that helped you get through like
treatments?
Yes.
I was pretty heavy on RSO oil, which
Okay, what's that?
at the Rick Simpson oil.
Okay.
At the time, like, it's not like I could walk into a collective and get it, so I was, getting it on the black market. And then the cannabis, because I could pour it into my feeding tube, huge advocate for them.
Okay.
And then when I was able to start, like, chewing on things, or really, Kiva used to have these blueberries.
Ooh, blueberries.
Yeah, they had Kiva used to have these chocolate-covered blueberries that were fire. I was so sad when regulation and everything went into place and they like removed them from the menu. They might be on the menu now. I have no idea, but the ones that used to come out were fantastic. And then Corova had I think it was 1,000 milligram brownie bar.
Yes, I remember those. Literally. The good fucking days when you can get a 500,000 milligram edible, like kill yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Damn. My friend took one of those, exactly, one of those 1,000 milligram ones, just had a bite. And then she was in the middle of Walmart and was like, I cannot pick up my feet. Like they won't come up. But yeah, those things were fucking crazy. So you would recommend, is there any other products you'd recommend to people who might be going through that?
Anything CBD. I know the regulations have changed since I was sick, so I don't know which brand to actually recommend, but I mean, it could and couldn't be depending on who you ask.
Okay. Yeah. Depends on the brand, I
Everyone
guess.
has their preferences. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a favorite CBD brand?
I like Charlotte's Web.
Okay.
But they've been around for a very long time.
Ooh, okay.
Then there's a company called Innovative CBD. They have a really, really good rub.
A rub. I love CBD rubs.
Yeah. And then Replay, actually. I don't know if you've heard of them, but it's Al's company. Al Harrington, the owner of Viola.
Oh, I didn't know
he also has Replay. Replay's pretty good.
Okay. They sent me a couple of those things. I haven't tried them yet, but definitely now I will since you recommended them.
Pretty good.
Okay, beautiful.
I can't remember. Oh my God, what is the name of that company? Is it Mary's Medicinal? Somebody has a patch that I really, really liked.
Ooh, almost like a nicotine patch, but for cannabis.
But yeah.
That's fucking genius.
Yeah, I really like that.
That wasn't around back in the day, no. Okay. No. Damn. Okay, great. Beautiful. That's a nice little list there. I would agree. Oh my God. I wish I knew about that when like my mom had cancer. I would have slapped a couple of those on her.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was CBD and THC. It was a 1-to-1 that I used. It was nice.
I like when they do the balance of the CBD and the cannabis. That is really nice.
CBD, you want to do it like sublingually. So like if you have like a topical and a tincture, I highly recommend doing them together because you need to get your body like acclimated to it.
Okay.
So your body has its own, cannabinoid system, endocannabinoid system. So to do like CBD orally and topically at the same time, it makes sense and it gets your body.
And do you think people should do CBD every day? Asking for myself.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Okay.
Like
you think it could almost be like preventative?
Absolutely. You should probably work some sort of CBD into your daily diet for sure.
Done. Taking that advice. So on a little more like spicier note, what was like cancer like having sex while having cancer? Did you have sex or like, because I will literally never forget the day we were in the room and they were like, oh, your whole family should watch these videos with you. So not only you know what to expect, but they know what to expect. And they come to this whole chapter. Meanwhile, it's like my parents hadn't had sex in like 16 years. They're now 4 years into a separation. Like everybody knows, like my mom's probably like Virgin Mary,
Oh, boy.
and like the whole family is in the like estranged family members, and it's just like crowded in there, and it's like sex and cancer. Like you probably won't have sex, but if your partner still wants to have sex, and like both, I was like, oh my God, it was crazy. So I can't imagine going through all that and having a sex drive. And if like, what was that like?
Honestly, like when you're fighting for your life, sex is like the last thing that's on your mind.
I can imagine.
Like the absolute last, especially when you go from like, 125 to 82 and you don't even know, like,
you don't feel
move.
sexy.
Like you literally can't move. Like sex is like
non-existent.
It's worse than doing laundry every week. Like,
I'm screaming.
Which is like the nice way of saying fuck no. Like,
yeah. Did you have a significant other at the time?
I did.
And did they try to be pushy, or were they understanding?
I think he was a pretty good sport about everything.
Okay.
I came up with an idea that would like remedy the situation.
Okay.
And like he became a really big fan of like coconut oil.
Okay. Beautiful. We love that. Is coconut oil alkaline?
Coconut oil is alkaline.
Yes! Winning! So did you ever try it at all? Like, or you just, did some other bases?
I mean, I just took care of him with my hands in the coconut oil just because I'm pretty sure if I would have tried to have sex during treatment, I probably would have just like snapped in half.
Oh my God, okay. Got it. Just off the table.
It was, yeah.
Did he go to therapy at all and like process that? I know this is kind of like cliche, but in like you see in like Sex and the City, I don't know if you're a Sex and the City fan, when Samantha gets cancer and she's like giving head and like the guy like pulls out some of her hair and it just like, and he just, and I was like, I wonder if that's like real life or they're just being dramatic.
I'm sure there's definitely been instances like when I was in the shower one day during treatment, I'm like washing my hair and I look down, like half my hair was like at the bottom of the tub. Mm-hmm. So like, why wouldn't it fall out while she's sucking dick?
Yeah.
Like,
no, literally. I get that. Okay. Were you like into wigs at all or anything?
I didn't lose all of my hair. I lost it in like really weird patches. And I had a friend at the time that was a hairdresser that like convinced me that I shouldn't shave my head.
Okay.
And we did this really cool like bob cut. And she like kind of shaved like little designs in the back.
Oh, that's
of the hair that was left back there. So it worked.
Okay. You did what you could with what you had.
Yeah.
Okay.
And during treatment, my hair was like, I used to dye my hair like all sorts of crazy colors. I think it was like actually this blue.
Okay. I love
and
that.
then when it started falling out.
Okay. I was going to be like, how did your hair handle that?
No. It, like before I started like treatments and everything,
Yeah,
I used to dye my hair all sorts of crazy colors.
Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by the time like I was starting treatment, my hair was still blue.
Okay.
And then obviously during treatment, I couldn't do anything.
So you just had blue hair.
So it like, I like faded to this like seafoam green. I looked like the Loch Ness Monster going through treatment. It was crazy.
Okay. you're like, maybe don't like keep pictures on deck at that time. Or maybe like do and reminisce. I don't know, whatever works for you.
But yeah, she cut my hair into like a little bob and then she ended up dyeing it like a deep purple.
Ooh.
So it made my hair look like a lot fuller than what it was. But
okay. It's giving me like Ursula vibes.
A little bit.
I'm here for that.
Yeah. And I was like super pale because I wasn't allowed in the sun. So it was very Ursula vibes.
Okay. Oh my God, that's crazy. No, literally. Might as well just like dyed your body purple.
Yeah.
But okay. So then after you like went into, I mean, would you call the second time remissions? Like, is that you recovered on your own? Like,
yeah.
You just like, sorry, what did your doctor say again about that? Were they like blown away? Like,
so I actually had several doctors because the chemotherapy did a lot of damage to like my internal organs. So I had like a kidney specialist, I have an ear, nose, and throat specialist. I have an oncologist. I have like a primary doctor. There's a lot. Like there's just literally a lot of different people that I was seeing. And When I went in for my scans again and nothing lit up, they were like, we need to retest you. And I had to go in. I did 3 scans to confirm that there was nothing.
Wow.
And when I went in for my labs and everything for my kidneys, the kidney specialist was like, I don't know what you did, but your kidneys are functioning at the highest rate they've ever functioned since I've been seeing you. And they're functioning so well that like you don't qualify to, like, by your insurance to see me anymore.
So when you, I guess we'll call it remission. So when you went into remission, were you using like any kind of like cannabis products in sex? Did you think it made you feel better, or like?
I didn't really start having sex after like the first time, solely because I was like so petrified about what I actually looked like. I was so uncomfortable, like so uncomfortable.
How did you start feeling sexy again?
That's a good question, honestly.
Because I feel like, to be honest, especially like now that I'm thinking about it, God, this might sound bad. Like, R.I.P. mom, love you. But it wasn't like my mom was like 60-year-old trying to like pop pussy after cancer, right? And like, well, we knew hers wasn't going away. But every other person I know with cancer is like older and or married. So I can't imagine like how, and to me, like sex is such obviously a big part of my life. So I can't imagine like what made you feel better and like sexy and like.
To be honest with you, like dance is a really big part of my life. Like people think it's like weed that keeps me going, but it's dance. I love to dance.
I love that you say that, because it's literally like yesterday my friend and I were talking about how in a lot of like Native American tribes, when you're sick, one of the first things they'll ask you is, when's the last time you danced?
Yeah.
And so do you just like free go for it and just dance? I love that.
So the very first weekend that I finally got clearance to like leave my house, because it was one thing to be able to leave the hospital, but to actually go out in public was a whole other ballgame. I didn't get to do that for months.
I can imagine.
There was like a reggae night out in Hollywood.
Okay.
And I got the email, I literally think on like Thursday morning, saying like, you've been cleared to, you passed all your scans and da-da-da. So I was like, yes, like, what is happening? Like,
yes, join the general public.
Yeah, so it was actually called Shaba, and it used to happen like once a month. Have you been to Shaba?
I have.
Shaba's amazing.
Fuck COVID. But like,
oh, this was way before COVID, girl.
Oh, I know. I know, but like that's what kind of like it like stopped, and like I don't know, I haven't heard of Shaba since.
COVID, I think, killed Shaba for sure.
Yeah, but the couple times that I went, it's like one of those things like if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of
for sure.
So you were going to like the original Shaba.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Like where like there was random appearances by like Usher and like.
Yeah, Diplo was there spinning.
Yeah, like so I went and I had on like shorts and a tank top, and all I wanted to do was dance. And I was like, I don't care who I recognize, who I see, whatever. And at first I was like, probably no one's going to want to dance with me because I look crazy. Like my hair's braided, so you can like kind of see like where the patches were missing and everything. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to go. And I just started dancing, and then like people started coming up to me and started dancing with me, and I honestly feel like it definitely helped confidence-wise.
Okay, just putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like so happy to just be like outside and moving that like just being in the moment, it definitely helped.
I love that.
It definitely helped, yeah.
And then from there, like, what were other things that like made you feel confident again?
I pretty much ran an operation that got really big in LA, and it also got the attention of some guys that worked with Al Harrington at Viola.
Okay.
And that's how my like journey went from the trap life to the legal side of things.
A full circle moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't get into too much detail about what I was doing, but let's just say like there was a good amount of people that were getting a substantial amount of stuff anytime they needed it.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yes.
But I definitely caught that attention, and I decided, okay, at some point, everything is going to be legal. So if I'm going to survive this game, I need to learn the rules of the other side.
Yeah. So smart.
With 1 foot on this side and 1 foot on this side, I could at least keep a pulse on like the real culture and maintain, you know, my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
Trap life obviously pays way better.
what?
I miss the trap life. There's days I be missing the trap.
So yeah, I worked at Viola for about 4 years.
And what'd you do there?
I actually helped launch the entire state of California for them.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. We opened up so many doors in California because I had already had all of those relationships.
Yeah.
And from being the brand director for Cali to overseeing product to becoming the vice president of strategy and product over there, it was a lot of fun. I love the guys. You know, cool little team.
Yeah.
Big team.
And especially during that time, being a female in cannabis was
Right.
even way more rare, like huge.
Right.
So these people, I think that says a lot, like actually trusted you. And like, because you'll get cut off real quick in the game if you do some like crazy shit.
Yeah.
So you must have been like a pleasure to work with and getting shit done.
It was a lot of fun. We definitely ran several things at the same time. We set the precedent for bud tender educations and smoke sessions. And
Oh,
like,
dope. How did you do that? Just
well-
kind of like leading by example, or did you have
Yeah.
like a book or something?
Definitely not a book. I wish. I feel like if there was a book, most of the cannabis industry would be operating a lot differently
Yeah.
than what they currently are. But the
True.
reality is, like, most of the brands that are doing well have someone on their team that have just been in the game for a very long time.
Yeah.
And we just know how to move and shake.
So would you ultimately like kind of recommend people who are like maybe working on the more non-legal trap side to like dip into the legal side?
No.
Okay, why?
Well, yes and no.
It's harder?
I don't want to say no. There's a lot of regulations.
Yeah.
A lot of regulations. And every state has very different regulations.
Okay.
And then, honestly, like, I would say it's definitely more stressful.
Okay.
Even though, like, on the other side, you're, like, constantly looking over your shoulder to make sure you're not getting robbed or,
Yeah.
you know, chased by the police or whatever.
I mean, essentially, if you don't do it right on the legal side, you kind of still have the risk of being with the police and
Yeah. I
getting
just
tied
think
into that.
On the traditional side, you can pick and choose who you actually have to deal with on a daily basis.
Okay.
Where on the the
Trapper side.
the legal side, you know,
Oh, no, the legal side.
when you're working with so many different personalities,
Yeah.
it can be, you know, tough.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a lot. And there's a lot of egos in there too.
Absolutely.
Especially with men.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, it's like a piss on each other competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually coined the term circle jerk.
Okay.
Coming into the game, especially being a female and like dealing with all of these different, very aggressive, egotistical, like,
and let's be
personalities.
real, a lot of the men are like, they're trapping, but they're also doing drugs too.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah. Like, how do you work those hours and not be like doing bumps?
I'll leave that there.
Yeah.
Dealing with so many personalities, being a woman in the industry is very challenging, right? So when you come from the traditional market where if someone disrespects you, you can literally go, like, I don't need to work with you. Like, where on the flip side, you're now on a team of like, you know, 15 people and you're working with all these different vendors and like all these different places who all have their own personalities and everything. Like, it can be a lot. So I say no to the people on the traditional side coming to the legal side because if you don't know how to handle personalities
Yeah.
and you don't know how to talk to people and you don't know how to check yourself, you won't survive.
Yeah, you can't be
male or female.
Yeah, you can't just blow up on people.
No.
Yeah. Okay. And what is there any advice you would give to people, whether they're trying to like break into like the trap side or the legal side? Like, how should they just go about doing that in this day and age?
If you're trying to get it, like, well, I don't know if I could advise anybody on how to get into the trap market.
That's like something you kind of just like fall into a little bit.
That's a whole different.
Or you go to a clinic that isn't legal, and then you could probably meet someone there that could get you somewhere else.
At the end of the day, your network is your net worth, regardless whether you're, slanging out of a duffel bag or, moving units through a distribution. Like,
yeah. It is what it is. And is there do you have any advice for people that want to get it, like how to make those connections? Like,
yeah, on the legal side, there's tons of different avenues that you can hit up, and there's posts on, now there's job posts on Indeed for
okay, so
the legal side.
You think they could find jobs on LinkedIn and shit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
What? Those things are posted everywhere.
Okay.
A lot of companies use recruiters and everything, but to be honest with you, if you don't actually have a love for the plant and want to actually help people, and you're only coming in for the money, stay home.
Okay. I think that's reasonable advice. Which leads me to, you have a new, so you've done all these things, been VP and marketing director, and you've done it all, basically. And so what are you doing now? I hear you have a surprise.
I do. This is for you.
Thank you. Go to our YouTube channel so you can see the mystery box on channel. Can I open
I
it?
am the new vice president of marketing at Khalifa Kush.
Woohoo!
And I'm super, super excited to basically ramp things up with them. You won't really see too much of my work until midsummer, after summer, but be prepared, I'm coming.
Okay, I'm ready. And the box is so cute, you guys. In here, there's some pre-rolls. We have ashtrays, some lighters. It's so, oh my God, and a little beanie. So cute. Oh, and a little grinder. That you guys have everything. I love these grinders. These are the best. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I've actually never smoked Khalifa Kush yet. So,
girl,
I'm so excited. Definitely on the agenda.
I'm glad I
for
could
today.
be the first one to give it to you.
I know. I'm so excited.
We can light that up as soon as this is over.
Oh, beautiful. Down.
I'm getting
It's a
live
date.
review.
It's a plan. So where can people find Khalifa Kush?
Okay, so you can check out the website, khalifakush.com. There is
Okay.
a store locator. We are in several states, California, Nevada, Arizona. We're ramping up to take over the East Coast. I can't say where yet.
Okay, no problem.
But
I know the East Coast is doing a lot of work.
We're in Florida.
Okay.
Already, yeah.
Ooh, okay. I'll look out. I'm trying to go to Florida this
Oh,
summer.
Miami, let's go.
Yes! I literally was like, why is my ass why is my ass not out on a beach in Miami right now?
Oh, dude.
With some Khalifa Kush.
If you ask anybody, they'll ask you, where are you trying to go? I'll be like, an island.
Okay, literally tropical
Island.
water. I love being next to water. Before we do the outro, though, can you tell everyone where to find you? Plug anything you want. Go off, sis.
So you can find me on Instagram. It's _StephanieCakes_. Also check out my agency page is Lightwork360.
Yeah.
Alongside me doing the marketing stuff for Khalifa Kush, pretty much launching Lightwork360 with Larry Drew II.
Okay.
And we're basically an integration agency that specializes in CBG brands and connecting athletes, influencers, and celebrities.
Dope. Athletes definitely need CBD, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. What?
Yeah.
And not just, CBD, and not just weed. We have several brand partners. I'm actually wearing Lavish and Luxuries eyelashes right now. They're one of our brand partners.
Ooh.
And I'm definitely lathered up in some ebony noir.
Okay. We
yeah.
love it.
So I'll get you one of our care kits that are being made as soon as
Thank
they
you.
get in.
Oh my God, that's so exciting. Okay.
You can check us out on Instagram. It's Lightwork360, or online. Our website is lightwork360.com.
Okay. Anything else you want to plug?
I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Oh, such a good vibe. I mean, thank you for being here. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your experiences. I know those are really tough topics, but if there's anything I've learned through we're on season 3 now, but season 2, when I like asked people like, what were your favorite episodes, this and that, it was the girls who like really like gave like their story and like, this is what I went through. And it's, even though it's hard, I think today whoever's listening could get a lot of like information and a wealth of knowledge from everything you talked about. So thank you for sharing.
If anyone wants help, either trying to cure something or they're battling something and whatever, I'm always down to, talk. Just hit me in my DM and I'll give you some pointers. I also have an alkaline cooking page that you could check out. It's called Eating Ripe.
I love that.
And I post a bunch of like different alkaline recipes. I like to take regular meals that you would normally have and make them alkaline and have you try them. And food is one of the only things that you can control about your life. So if you can control what you put in your mouth, it actually changes the outcome of your life completely. So once you master what you eat, you can master anything in life.
Yes. Okay, queen. And on that note, that concludes today's episode of Stoned and Horny. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, if you want a chance to join the conversation, to follow us on Instagram or TikTok at the Stoned and Horny podcast. Leave a comment. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials and to stay updated with the Stoned and Horny news. I'm your host, Hayley Herms, and I'll see you on next week's episode. Bye.